Hello everyone, my name is Matt, and today I'll be analyzing the 2015 film Straight Outta Compton through an ethnic studies lens. This film tells the story of NWA, which is one of the greatest, most influential rap groups of American history. Artists like Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and Eazy-E. It also illustrates how race, power, and inequality shaped their experiences growing up in Compton in the 1980s and 90s. For this analysis, I will be focusing on three key concepts from our course: racial information, systemic racism, and representation. Each of these concepts help us understand not only the personal stories of the group members, but also the social forces around them. I'll use specific scenes from the film to show how these ideas come to life. Racial formation goes into the process by which society creates racial categories and gives meaning to them. The meanings are produced through institutions, media, law enforcement, and cultural narratives. And Straight Outta Compton, one of the first examples of racial formation is shown in a scene where a group of the NWA members are standing outside of their own recording studio and they're being harassed by police officers.
Shit. You guys lost? Nah. You niggas supposed to be somewhere?
Yeah. Here, we working.
Oh, you working? Yeah, I bet.
What we do?
We'll find out in a minute what you did.
Smith, shut the fuck up.
Get your ass on the ground now. Get on the ground.
On the ground? What's supposed to do with this?
On the ground.
What we do?
Hey, get down. Get on the ground now.
Get your punk ass on the ground. Let's go. Get the fuck down.
Hands behind your back, interlock your fingers.
This is fucked up.
Interlock them.
Fuck you got us on the ground like this for, officer?
For our protection, 7 of you and 4 of us. So sit tight and let us do our
Hey,
job.
officer, I'm sorry. What is going
Sir,
on out
can you stay right there, please? We're trying to check these bangers, make sure they're clean.
All right, I'm sorry. These are not bangers, okay? These are artists.
Excuse me, artists?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What kind of artists?
Rappers. And they're working with me in the studio right now.
Well, see, rap is not an art. And I'm sorry, who are you?
I'm the manager.
Well,
In this scene, you can see how police officers refuse to believe that the group are there to make music. They're ordered to lie on the ground even though they've done nothing wrong. This demonstrates how institutions like police racialize young African American men as inherently suspicious or dangerous. The officers don't see them as artists or professionals, they see the racial category first. Even African American officers enforce the same stereotypes as the Caucasian ones. This shows that racial formation is structural. It is a system of ideas everyone is trained into, not just individual prejudice. Throughout the film, you can see how these imposed racial meanings shape the identities of the characters. They're constantly forced to navigate who society thinks they are. Criminals, troublemakers, thugs, even though they're just trying to create art. Their music becomes a direct response to these racial formations. Songs like Fuck the Police challenge the idea that African American youth are inherently dangerous, and instead they are just responding to their unfair treatment. Their art is shaped by racial formation in a way, but it also pushes back against it. The second concept is systemic racism, which refers to racism embedded into institutions, laws, and social structures, not just individual prejudice. Throughout the film, systemic racism shapes the environment the characters grow up in. Early in the film, we see the economic challenges that the characters face: unstable housing, lack of access to safe neighborhoods, and school systems that fail to support African American students. The characters grow up in neighborhoods shaped by decades of redlining, which is discriminatory practice in financial services, particularly loans. They're typically denied by neighborhoods inhabited by racial minorities, primarily being African American. This forced segregation created neighborhoods with fewer resources, such as like job opportunities, higher police presences, and in the film, due to these few job opportunities and low wages, Eazy-E actually ends up in drug dealing, not because he wants to, but because the options are so structurally limited, he has no other option. Systemic racism also appears in the entertainment industry. When the NWA signs their very first deal with a studio, they're excited, but they're unaware of how the system takes advantage of African American talent. Jerry Heller profits far more than the group members do. There's a long historical pattern of record labels undervaluing and underpaying African American artists who are profiting off their cultural production. Representation is my third concept, which is how people, communities, and ideas are portrayed in the media, just as importantly, who controls that portrayal. And Straight Outta Compton addresses representation on two levels. One, how NWA is represented by society, and the second is how they represent themselves through their own art. News coverage in the film portrays NWA as dangerous, immoral, and corrupting the youth. There's a scene where reporters accuse them of promoting violence, but the group argues that their music is simply reflecting the violence that already exists because of policing and structural inequality. This shows representation can be political and how those in power can control the narrative about the African American communities. NWA's music functions as a form of self-representation through raw lyrics and storytelling. They take control of how their community is seen. They show the reality of life in Compton, which includes police brutality, poverty, and resilience. Representation is important because it gives visibility to experiences that mainstream media ignores, reshapes public understanding of an African American life, and challenges stereotypes. In conclusion, Straight Outta Compton shows much more than just the rise of a rap group. This film helps understand how race and power work in the U.S. Through racial formation, we see how society creates stereotypes about young African American men and treats those stereotypes as truth. Through systemic racism, we see how policing, housing, and the music industry creates real barriers that shape people's lives. And through representation, we see how NWA fights back, telling their own story and showing what life is like in their communities. By looking at the movie through these three concepts, we can see that NWA's music just wasn't entertainment. It was a response to injustice, a form of resistance, and a way for them to take control of their own narratives. This film helps us understand the bigger issues behind their story and why their voices mattered then and still matter to this day. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation.